I killed the Ender Dragon 100 times in only 10 hours. This is how I did it. First of all, how do you kill 100 dragons? If you didn't know, you could respawn a dragon by placing 4 end crystals around the end fountain, which plays this animation that resummons the dragon. They are crafted with 7 glass, an ender eye, and a ghast here, just like this. I need 396 end crystals to resummon the dragon 99 times. And this is how much materials I need to craft that. Yeah, we need to do quite a bit of grinding if you couldn't tell. I believe no one has ever tried to speedrun this before, and it was really interesting. I hope you enjoy. After resetting for a couple of minutes, I spawned in this sea that looked quite decent. It had a plains village close and what seemed like quite a big desert. I crafted up my stone tools, and after killing the golem and getting some hay bales, I set off to the desert in search of a desert temple. Getting a desert temple early in this run is pretty essential, as desert temples usually contain a lot of gunpowder, which can be made into fireworks, and TNT, which I can blow up to get a lot of blocks. At exactly 3 minutes, I found a temple, and after looting all of the chests, I ended up getting 10 gunpowder from it, which is quite a decent amount. Now all I needed was a lava pool to enter the nether with, and I was quite unlucky and I couldn't find one, so I just dug down and found a lava pool underground. I made the nether portal, and when I entered, I did a strategy called E-Ray, where I put my FOV down to 30 and look around while looking at my entity counter to locate a bastion. I blew up the ground for some blocks and headed in that direction. On the way there, I also spotted a fortress, which was in decently close proximity to the bastion, which made this nether split a lot easier. The bastion turned out to be a bridge type, and after getting the gold in the chalice, I went to the right rampart and dug a hole here and broke a gold block, so that all the piglins around me got mad, and I just continuously threw the gold in the hole so they all went in and trade. The ghast was also trying to ruin my run here, but I turned my render distance down and it froze the ghast in its place. From the trades, I got 3 stacks of pearls, 31 obsidian, and 3 stacks of string. Pretty decent trades. I went back to the fortress that I saw earlier, and after locating the spawner, I killed all the blazes I needed to until I had 7 rods. Now, I can do a strategy called calculated travel, where I build my first portal here and I use 2 Eyes of Ender to calculate the distance of the stronghold. And since I got so much obsidian from the bastion, I could build a second portal in that direction to get to the stronghold a lot faster. After going through the second portal, I was about to throw an Eye of Ender to see how close I was, and let's just say, I didn't need to. Both of the stronghold libraries were also exposed, which made this a lot better, since now I could just break the bookshelves for books to do level 30 enchants later in the run, and I could also loot the chest for the paper for fireworks, and getting some enchanted books is nice too. After looting both libraries, I searched around the island and saw that the portal room was also exposed, which meant that I didn't even need to navigate the stronghold at all. Something I realized I could do is, since the portal room was so close to my portal, I could make another portal in the portal room, and now we'll link back to my nether portal that I built, since it was that close. The only problem was that when I went back through the overworld, it put me back to the portal on the island. However, there was a simple fix for this. With the TNT from the temple, I lit a TNT as I was exiting the portal, and I threw a block into the portal to render the TNT since I was in the nether. And when I came back through, the TNT had blown up, and now that portal in the nether links into the portal room. And with that, I could now fight the Ender Dragon. I killed my first dragon in the run, giving me the dragon egg and 66 levels, which will be very good for enchanting later on. I located the end gateway and pearled through it. At 40 minutes into the run, I finally found an end city along with an end ship as well, so I started looting. At 57 minutes, I was finally satisfied with all the loot I had gotten and went back through the overworld. The first part of the run is now complete, and now we head on to the next stage, which is Enchanting. I made golden axes and started chopping down the nearest birch trees for wood, so that I could turn the books that I got from the libraries earlier into bookshelves for enchanting. I went into the plains village at spawn and set up my enchants. I also went to a nearby dark oak forest to get many stacks of wood by blowing it up, and with the wood, I could trade massive amounts of sticks to a fletcher to get all my emeralds to trade for enchanted books. I was pretty close to finishing my enchants, but my levels ended up being short since combining my swords was so expensive. I saw that it was turning nighttime, so I just decided to kill creepers to get gunpowder and levels, and in the middle of doing that, this happened. So you see here that I put a bed in my hotbar, and you would assume that I'll put a bed down at a tree and sleep safely, but well, I spent the next 2 minutes trying to find a village to get food since I had none, and I just disregarded the fact that I had half a heart. Yeah, I'm not the smartest. Okay, there's phantoms now, nice. With my newly enchanted gear, I decided to get the first of my materials for the end crystals, which was the blaze rods. I smelted up sand to make glass balls for fire resistance and headed back into the nether. I made sure to get the nether wart from the fortress, and I set up a little base at the spawner so I could start brewing my fire resistance. After brewing the potions, I broke the blocks around the spawner, since doing that increases the blaze spawn rates, and I also put a shell around it so that the blazes couldn't go anywhere. Then I could kill all the blazes that spawn until I had 400 blaze powder, which is about 3.5 stacks of blaze rods. So I went and grinded for a bit. After 11 minutes of grinding, I finally acquired all of my blaze rods. Now the next thing I wanted to get was the ender pearls, and the most efficient way of getting them quickly is by making an enderman farm. The enderman farm design that I'll be using is made by a speedrunner named TalkingMime, and it's one of the most easy and efficient ones that I've ever seen. And all it takes to create it is just a couple stacks of leaves, and that's pretty much it. So the way this farm works is I build all the way down at Y level 1 at the bottom of the end. From there I bridge 2 stacks of leaves away from the end island, and now I build a little platform here, and I add a roof on it. This is the platform where I sit and grind endermen, so this roof basically makes me unable to get hit from them. Now I extend the bridge a bit more this way, and I put down a netherrack platform here in a 7x7. And the reason why I use leaves for this farm is because endermen can't spawn on leaves, and since I built 128 blocks away from the end island, it's outside of the mob spawning radius, so it forces them to only spawn on this netherrack here. So now the farm is done, and now I can abuse my sweeping edge 3 diamond sword enchant. While killing these Endermen, you may notice that I have F3 open, and the reason why I do this is to look at this number here. This number changes based on how high or how low the angle your character is looking, and I take advantage of this by keeping this number to be between -1 and -2. This will line up my sight so I can see the Enderman's eyes, and I keep this number constant, and I shift my sight from left to right while killing Endermen, and this will anger the Endermen while I'm killing them, so it creates an infinite stream of Endermen that are aggro on me while I'm killing Endermen. After only 2.5 minutes of grinding, I had almost a double chest full of pearls already, which is about half the time that it took to build the farm itself, and I was already overloaded with pearls. I was done with the end for now, and I went back into the nether to start getting ghast tears. The highest concentration of ghast spawns are in soul sand valleys, and they are also such a big creature that it takes up a 5x5 area for them to spawn. Just like how I made an Enderman farm, to be efficient, I also had to make a ghast farm. To make this farm, all I needed was a lot of blocks, and netherrack is the easiest to get, since I could just blow a piece of TNT and get multiple stacks at once. And when I said that I needed a lot of blocks, I needed so much that I had to empty all 4 of my shulker boxes into a double chest and fill all said shulker boxes with netherrack. So I went blast mining. So now that I have all my netherrack, I filled up to the nether roof and started working on my farm. I opened up my chunk borders and built a 2x2 chunk netherrack border and filled it in after. I also had to spam some torches down on the platform to prevent skeletons and endermen from spawning, so only ghast can spawn up here. Obviously this would be very slow with only 1 floor, so I built up and started building the 2nd and 3rd floors to increase the spawn efficiency. The farm is now complete, and now I could start grinding ghast tears. The way the farm works is I fly all the way up to Y200 and stay up there for a bit. This basically makes it so that the mob spawns are forced onto the platforms that I built below. Another useful trick that I used is by offhanding the bow and having the looting sword in my main hand, I could shoot the bow and still get the looting drops. This made killing the ghast a lot easier. I spent the next hour and 10 minutes straight just grinding ghast, and I think I lost my sanity, but I was finally finished with the most annoying part of the run, and I only needed 1 more material for the end crystals, which was the glass. However, I still needed to get a lot of materials for the end fight, and everything left that I needed was in the overworld, and this is what I needed. First, I needed 2800 glass for the end crystals like I said earlier. So I needed to excavate sand from a desert. This means that I needed some lava buckets from either lava pools or the nether to fuel my furnaces to make glass. I also needed a lot of beds to do a 1 cycle, where I killed a dragon in 1 perch using beds. To make beds, I needed a lot of wood and wool, so this required me to make a sheep farm for the wool, and I needed to explode either an acacia village or a dark oak forest with TNT to get my wood. Another thing that I needed was a good source of food, and I could just get more hay bales for food, but I needed the hay bales to breed the sheep for my farm, so I needed to get a better saturation of food to last me 100 dragon fights. Lastly, I needed a couple extra stacks of fireworks, since killing 100 dragons does require a few stacks. Needless to say, I still needed quite a few items to get into overworld, and it sucked because I had to grind out every single item separately, which is gonna take a while. Or did I? Almost everything that I listed earlier were items in the overworld, so I could actually just grind them all at the same time. So this was the plan. The location of the farm had to be optimal so the materials I would collect would be in close proximity. I found the perfect location to do this. It's right here in between the village, the desert, and this river. The plains had the sheep that I would breed for my sheep farm. Sheep have a cooldown for breeding, which is 5 minutes, so while waiting for them to be breedable, I would get stacks of sand from the desert and made some furnaces to make glass and put them next to my sheep farm. This means that I would need to regularly get lava buckets from a lava pool to refuel my furnaces. After this, I would go into a bastion to get bone blocks and gold. And with that, I would turn the bone blocks into bone meal and start bone milling the carrots and turn them into gold carrots. This would be the food for the rest of my run. The last thing I needed was the wood for beds, and I could just blow up an acacia village for it. And with that, all I needed to do was grind. So I got to work. After 7 hours, I was finally ready to take on 100 dragon fights. I moved my materials to the stronghold and crafted my end crystals. Then, I set up a little base at the end. The top chest here is filled with the materials to craft beds, and the bottom is filled with beds. The dragon death and respawn animation takes a while, so after killing the dragon, I would fill up my inventory with beds from the bottom chest, and if I was ever gonna run out, I could craft more by grabbing the materials from the top chest. Since this is a speedrun, obviously I have to use the fastest possible strategy to kill the dragon every time. The most common strategy for the dragon fight is waiting on the north or south side of the end island, and waiting for the dragon to perch and one cycle it when it does. There is a 1 in 13 chance that the dragon perches with all the crystals up, and it's pretty annoying dealing with this RNG. However, with the extra luxury of having an elytra and fireworks, you can completely eliminate this RNG. This is what it looks like. I just did what is called force perch strats, and like its name suggests, it completely removes the RNG part of the dragon perch and instead forces it. This was discovered by a player named ExeRSolver, and here you can see that he baits the dragon by breaking a crystal, which triggers the dragon's fireball mode. This makes the dragon chase after you so that it can fireball the player. It can only shoot you if you're within 50 blocks of it, so he flies until he's outside of the realm of the main end island, and after that he lets the dragon fireball him so that he could get out of its fireball mode. Then the dragon realizes that it's outside of its end island, which triggers the perch from the dragon, and then he one-cycles it. With this strategy, I can essentially guarantee a 1-minute end fight without having to worry about perch RNG. With this strategy in mind, I was finally ready to take on 100 dragons.
40 more.
Oh my god. Is that? Oh, that's so close.
That is, oh my god. 61.
60. No, that's. I want something.
Little. What
Sure.
dragon are we?
This is the 80th one. Wait, this is.
Yo. We
That's
just need
dragon number
20 more.
80. That was number 80. Yo. Double clicking the bed. Oops, this is 90, right? 90. Let's go.
Please, dragon.
Oh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It's coming, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Right here. Shoot me. Shoot me. What? Stop coming over. Okay, okay. Let's go. They use all my fireworks.
Oh my god, you're spamming those.
I'm spamming. Let's go. Oh, don't kill it. Okay, I almost killed it. I almost killed it, dude.
Dude, if you killed it.
If I killed it, that would have been so bad.
And 100. Let's go.
100.
100 kill on the target. Yeah, everybody better subscribe now.